it's happened again. Someone's pulled the rug out from under you, an empire at your feet, and you've lost it all. Be honest, did you really deserve any of it? More important, what would you do to get it back? Careful, there's always a price to pay. What you decide will ripple across the years. Blood in the gutters and corruption on the wind. It'll be fun watching this unfold. What will you do with the power I've given you? How will you make your mark on this wretched world?
Cover your face, but I know who you are. Emily Caldwin. Nothing is an accident. Everything is in motion. All of it has led you to this exact second in time.
Before you strike. If you kill me, you become the assassin we claimed you were. You become one of us!
The years are long, but it's always good to see a familiar face.
All right, well, in 2012, Arcane Studios got everyone's attention with their critically acclaimed title, Dishonored. It focused on player's choice. It was a unique story about a supernatural assassin where players could complete the story through non-lethal means. It was also my game of the year of 2012.
Players, not me, but other people. Joining us now to talk about Dishonored 2, as well as Dishonored Definitive Edition, is Raph Colantonio and Harvey Smith, co-creative directors at Arcane Studios. Welcome to both of you. How does it feel to finally reveal what you guys have been working on?
Well, it's been a while now, so of course, as usual, I think it's the same for every developers, you know, when you've been working like this for a while and you're very excited, but also, you know, worried about what people are going to think, and the reception was great, I think.
Yeah, it's a relief as much as it's anything else. You know, it's hard to keep secrets, and as you might have noticed.
Yes.
And so it feels great.
You know, it's obviously in anticipation and hope for this. I played through the original Dishonored again, and I just love that world that you created. I assume it must be a lot of fun for you guys to go back to that and really expand on it. Obviously, you know, it's still the same world, but it's not just, you know, Dunwall. There's more that you're exploring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody says this, all the developers say this, but it's really true in our case that, like, we have this big team of multiple pieces that work together. Our lead architect, Damien Laurent, does a lot for the world. Our tech group is very powerful. Our art director, Sebastian Mitton, our level design director. Level design is a huge component of these games. So all of these people are like working together with me and Raph on the games, and it's just like all the pieces. And it was gratifying to come back to the world for sure. Like, you know, we know Dunwall very well as a city, and we mapped out our empire, and we did lots of like background stuff that were details that didn't come up in the first game, but they're just there, you feel them. And so we exploited some of those for the new game.
Oh, obviously, and just to check, you did mention where this game takes place, or at least where we saw in the trailer. If you could elaborate just a touch on that.
Yeah, the Empire of the Isles is 4 nation states under the Empress. And the southernmost state is Serkonos, and the capital of Serkonos is Karnaca. It's the southernmost city in our empire chain.
And there has been references to it a little bit, like here and there, right?
Even in the DLC, we had posters that said like, Karnaca needs workers because there's a big silver mine there, you know. So yeah, we alluded to it all the time.
And of course, the biggest surprise in the trailer was who we saw. It was not Corvo. So what can you tell us about this character?
Well, Emily Caldwin, the heir of the throne in the first game. 15 years later, we thought it would be ideal to play her since she was a key character in the first game, and also we always think that it's a good thing to be able to play both genders in the game, and so that was.
I agree with that.
Everything worked out together, and it played well for us in this case.
Yeah, we're very excited about the fact that you can play Corvo as well. We want to revisit that character, deepen him, extend his powers a little bit. You know, Serkonos is where he's from, so he's going home. But all along, honestly, our energy was behind Emily. Like from day one, when we first started, we were wrapping up the first game and starting to think about the DLC, and we were starting to think about the new game. There was just a kind of energy behind Emily. And there's something special in the first game where you go out on these missions and either you're ghost-like or you do this dark, violent stuff, and then you come back and you see the drawings Emily's made, and she's either made like father figure, peaceful kind of drawings, or she's like black crayon, like, you know, depending on how you played. And so there was just she's kind of a special character to us, I guess.
Yeah, and the father thing, we don't know how much the players understand. All of them got the message that she was related to
Okay,
Corvo.
yes. You had to find the secret room. And yes, once again, I just played this. I just played the original Dishonored, but you really get the sense when you play the recording and you read some of the messages in that secret room in the second to last level. The trailer makes a very strong case for wanting to play Emily.
Yes.
Obviously, we saw some stuff there that would imply she has distinct powers. If you could kind of explain how she plays differently from what we already know of Corvo.
Well, we see Emily as her pillars are Dunwall Empress Assassin, right? So she's not in some gaudy costume or whatever. She's dressed like an empress. She's got her traveling jacket on, her mud-splattered boots, but her costume is very elegant, right? And her weapons are, she uses Corvo's sword, but she has her own crossbow, and then her powers are completely separate. And Corvo has more like military guy uniform. You know, we put a lot of thought into the fashion behind the characters in the world. It's just part and parcel of the Dishonored universe. But at some point we gravitated more and more toward giving Emily a completely unique set of powers. And it started to feel like a bold decision, like what if she didn't have Blink even? Wow, what if she had this power called Far Reach that's different and can be used in many different ways that we'll talk about later. So she has a non-overlapping set of powers that are different than Corvo's. And our lead designer, Dinga Bakaba, was committed from day one to saying she even should have her own animations, her own assassinations, her own movement, so the body feels very different. The movement of Emily feels different than the movement of Corvo.
It's going to make level design harder. They just nod.
Yeah, our level designers are really fantastic, and they have to support all of these different play styles and all of these different powers. And you can play our entire game and not even take some of the powers that other people really invest in heavily. So yeah, that's a big challenge.
The flavors of the dialogue as well is different.
Oh yeah. It's the same campaign, just to be clear. It's a series of missions that you play through, but their perspectives on the world are different because their ages are wildly different and their backgrounds are different.
And their actions, the response of other characters to them.
I think Morgan and I can both say that one of the biggest questions that we were seeing on social media out there is, does this game support co-op? Because obviously people are seeing the two characters. And as Nish B3301, who's going to get a nice reward for this question, in Dishonored 2, it was said you could play as both Emily or Corvo. Once you pick one character, can you change to the other? I mean, is there character swapping? Is there co-op?
So for co-op, the answer is no. The kind of games we do is really focused on the single-player experience with the player choices and the consequence, etc. You know, and the way you play your own style, your own way. So it's just a one single-player game where you make your choice at the beginning and then you cannot switch in the middle as well because because there's a full story here where without revealing, it makes sense that you cannot switch.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a question. I think people wanted to know if it's the same kind of, not linear is like the terrible word for it,
No,
but sort of like
that
directed narrative, that structured story.
Wheel and spoke, I think, is a term that has been used before.
Yeah, what we love to do is make a series of very handcrafted missions where every room has been detailed. There's a lot of environmental storytelling, and we spent a lot of time thinking about like how would Corvo respond to this, how would Emily respond to that.
So let's talk about the definitive edition. What can gamers expect from that? How are they going to be able to get their hands on it?
Did you say how or when?
How and when? I have all of the questions.
Sell me on your definitive edition, even though I completely love your game and we'll be getting it anyway.
Right. So it's coming actually very soon, in a few weeks, and the idea is that it both should appeal to the people who've already played the first one and wants to replay it on an updated, current gen, new visuals and enhanced. With all the DLCs, and the DLCs are really a way for us to go deeper on the universe of the original Dishonored, and it's also a nice transition to Dishonored 2 because there are bits that will refer to it. So that's for them, for the hardcore fans that want to revisit this in a better, with better visuals, and also just for people who are waiting for Dishonored 2, who didn't have a chance to play the Dishonored 1 game back then, and now they can play it, and because the visuals are on par with with the gen, then it makes sense.
It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to make a game, and one of the saddest things about the industry is based on the platform, stuff is gone so quick. You can pull out a Joan Jett album from the early 80s or whatever and listen to it, it sounds great. Good luck, finding a video game that you loved as a kid on an obscure platform or something, right? So we're happy to have it on the new consoles, frankly. But also, as we started working, as we were halfway through Dishonored, we kind of figured out what it was. And by the time our team was working with us on the DLC, we really had a firmer grasp of the world. And so it's cool to have the whole package together.
And there's obviously stuff in the DLC. I'm not saying like huge story points, but it can really kind of get you ready. Make you re-understand the world again as you prepare yourself for Dishonored 2.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Congratulations.
Super congratulations. I think one of the best surprises that is going to happen at this entire E3. So once again, definitive edition soon, and a little further out, we're going to see Dishonored 2.
Dishonored
Yes.
2.
Great.
Do we have a? Did we say a date for Dishonored 2 roughly?
Yeah, spring 2016.
All right. Well, I cannot wait. Guys, get back to work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we're also going to talk a bit about some of the other announcements at the event. First, we had the Elder Scrolls collectible card game. We both love collectible card games, even though I kind of suck at them.
You can be bad at something that you enjoy. It's all good.
Most things.
We saw a lot of great art taken from the Elder Scrolls universe. The lore is so deep within the series. There is a ton to work with.
Yes, and surprisingly, this title is going to be available for iPad, which, along with Fallout Shelter, means Bethesda is going mobile.
Let's take another look at the trailer for the Elder Scrolls Legends.